This is the best vegan cheesecake, keto or not. Beautiful to behold, rich and creamy, yet delightfully light, thanks to a secret ingredient, and brightened with the flavors of the season. And you won't believe how easy it is to make. Hello friends, and not yet friends, welcome back to Mary's Test Kitchen, where I got through the headache of 9 rounds of cheesecake testing with the help of Peppermint Halo by today's sponsor, Sage Wellness. It's included in their Eat, Drink, and Be Merry kit, which is an amazing gift to give or get with 3 natural essential oil blends perfect for feeling your best this season. More on that later, and I'll also tell you about the first time I ever used a sage blend, which I can't believe I'm actually going to tell you because I'll be exposing myself. Anyways, you should have your discount now. Use my link and coupon code TESTKITCHEN for 20% off site-wide and free shipping in the US and Canada. I won't be offended if you shop while you watch because it's for a limited time only, and this recipe, well, it's that easy. It won't take long to prep the best vegan keto cheesecake either, so we'll just start by emptying out the oven before setting it to 350 degrees Fahrenheit to preheat. And I'll get a couple tubs of vegan cream cheese out the fridge just to let it chill off. First, we need to lay down that traditional graham crust. Well, it'll taste like a traditional graham cracker crust, but we're really making it out of zero net carb oat fiber. Oat fiber, by the way, is not oat flour. It is not made out of the carb-heavy kernel of oats. Instead, it's made from the indigestible outer husk. So when we mix together the right ingredients and bake it, the aroma becomes toasty, cozy, and just amazing while staying keto-friendly. These lovely golden flax seeds will keep the right amount of moisture in the crust so it doesn't crumble to dust. They taste milder and nicer than brown flax, and for the best texture, I like to grind them fresh. For our zero-carb sweetener, I'm using Swerve Brown Sugar Alternative. It's gluten-free, vegan-friendly, and really acts and tastes like brown sugar in baking. You've got to have it for that authentic graham cracker flavor. That, along with 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon and 1/4 cup or 60 grams of vegan butter. Then combine. When I was testing this recipe, I tried various low-carb ingredients, which I'll write about in the blog post if you need details and alternatives. Long story short, some were acceptable, but this one came out with the best texture and perfect taste. You know what else is perfect? Realizing you're doing things the hard way and remembering you have an easier solution. Now, with just a little pressure, the crumbs will stick together easily, ready to be pressed into your cheesecake pan. I'm using this 7-inch springform pan today, but I also tested this recipe in a mini 2-serving version, so let me know if you want those instructions. For now, I'm going to cut a bit of parchment to make a ring. I like to use a cup with a flat base to press the bottom and along the sides as well. Excellent! Set it aside and we can quickly mix together our rich and creamy, fluffy and indulgent cheesecake filling in the blender. First up, vegan cream cheese. I'm using Violife because it's the one most available to me, but I've also made non-keto vegan baked cheesecakes with Tofutti and Daya in the past, so they should work too. Then the special ingredient that makes this cheesecake light and fluffy, tofu. Did you guess it? And not silken tofu, but firm tofu. I'm talking about the kind that comes sitting in a tub of water. Just take it out of the package and drain it, but you won't need to squeeze it. Because I've also tried it that way, and while the texture was good, the taste was way too strong. No, just break it off into chunks directly into your blender jar. Next, get some freshly squeezed lemon juice. While normally for most things I say bottled is quite alright, but in this vegan keto cheesecake, no, it makes a huge difference, namely to cancel out the tofu flavor. While you got those lemons, take some of the zest too. I've got to make a little room for this to work, but if your blender is smaller, feel free to do this in half batches. Add vanilla extract. Usually I say get the best quality you can find, but actually I used the store brand this time and it turned out really good regardless. Finally, that bit of lemon zest. Then I'm going to blend this fairly smooth first, before I add our zero carb sweetener. This time I'm using Swerve icing sugar replacement. And blend again. Now it's super smooth and ready to pour into our prepared crust. Oh no! If you're an experienced traditional cheesecake baker, you might be alarmed. Oh, those bubbles! Actually, I was too when I saw this. My test batches were not bubbly at all as I used a bullet-style blender. Traditionally, you might tap the pan a few times to get rid of bubbles, but it's not going to work in this case. Running a spatula through? Laughable, absolutely useless. I was resigned to label this batch as a test as well. Nothing to do now, but bake it anyways. Bake it in our preheated oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 1 hour. Which gives me plenty of time to tell you all about today's sponsor, Sage Wellness. Well, I've been a customer of theirs for literal decades, which I know telling you that ages me a little, but I'll tell you what the first time I ever used a Sage blend before. I was working at the mall, as you do as a teenager, at a fragrance store, being one of those annoying salespeople yelling to the public, 50% off everything, Davidoff cool water, only $29. In my defense, I was very young, inexperienced to the ways of the world. There was a fast food place downstairs from us. I was a teenager. I eat there every day, okay? And it comes to nobody's surprise that I had stomach problems almost every day. Anyways, we got this new coworker, and she's a little bit older than me. She's had kids already. I kind of look at her like a motherly figure, even though she's literally like 5 years older than me, I think. And she told me to try Eater's Digest. We had a Sage like maybe just 7 stores away from us. We had a Sage around the corner. So I went to try their tester on my break, and by the end of my shift, I went to buy my own. It actually worked. And did I put 2 and 2 together and stop eating at the clown fast food place? No, that happened years later. But to this day, I do use Eater's Digest on the very rare occasion. Let's be honest, less rare during the holidays. Come on. Something that does always happen, especially the winter so far. Here in Calgary, we have this weather phenomenon called a Chinook. What it is a different pressure system that changes the temperature drastically. So say in the morning, it'll be -20, and by the afternoon, it'll be +8 or something crazy like that. It's famous for causing migraines. It's famous for causing headaches. Not everybody is affected, but I sure am. All I use is peppermint halo. Roll it on my temples. I put it in my hairline. If it's like a big headache, I'm going to put it on my neck as well. Even if I don't have a headache, actually. Right now, I feel fine, but this is feeling nice. It has peppermint, rosemary, and lavender. So it's like cooling, wakes you up, but at the same time, it's calming. And it's not just me who feels this way, okay? There's over like 2,000 5-star reviews on the Sage website for this. But offline, and this is so funny that this Eat, Drink, and Be Merry kit has all the things that I use on a regular basis. My yoga teacher used it once during yoga class and I was sold. It smells so good. It's just like a very calming, like I just like to use it when I'm doing yoga or meditation, that kind of thing. All 3 come in this little kit. It's really great if you're just new to Sage and want to try a little something. It has like a velvet pouch. It's so nice. I think it'll be great for a gift. The size is a good stocking stuffer, I think. And then, of course, you can use my link and use my code TESTKITCHEN, all one word, to get 20% off site-wide, and you'll get free shipping in Canada and the US. Maybe you'll pick up some of your favorites. Maybe you'll pick up some extra strength. I had to use this the other day. We had a huge snowfall and did some shoveling, but I also did some snow skating. But I also did some face planting. So this stuff, you just roll it on and it makes it feel so much better. I actually love that I can get this effect from 100% plant-based natural product. All of Sage's products are plant-based, cruelty-free. They're never tested on animals. If you're looking for gifts this year, you really got to check out Sage if you haven't already. Make sure you use my coupon code though to save you some money. And thank you to Sage for supporting the channel and for supporting my efforts to make the best vegan cheesecake ever. Speaking of which, it's time to not take it out of the oven quite yet. After baking 1 hour in the oven, turn off the heat and leave it in there for 15 more minutes. Then we can open the oven door. The top is just lightly kissed with a golden color. It'll still be jiggly, so handle it steadily. And let it cool at room temperature. We don't want any extreme temperature changes at this point, so let it rest for a good 30 minutes or so before chilling it in the fridge. Just a note, I didn't film it, but I did end up putting a cloth over the cake and then a cover to prevent dripping from condensation. Also, when I was testing this recipe, I only chilled the cheesecakes overnight, and they turned out really well. But when I shot this video, I made the cake on a Friday and meant to make the sauce and serve it on the next day. But then we had this incredible snowfall, and I just couldn't pass up the chance for a bit of snow skating. Long story short, I couldn't get back to this cheesecake until after the weekend, which really worked out because the flavor is even better. The flavors have really had a chance to mingle and the taste is incredible. So now my advice is, overnight chilling is the minimum standard, but letting it rest for 2 or even 3 days is gold. You know what else is gold? This silky, shiny vegan keto cheesecake sauce with a secret ingredient that puts it above the rest. Not so secret, naturally low in sugar, cranberries are perfect for ketoers and this holiday season. Put them in a pot and add enough water to cover the berries. Then get it boiling. As soon as it boils, turn the heat down some so it's simmering but not in any danger of bubbling over. In the meantime, get our secret ingredient, which is ginger. I only have a little organic ginger left and it looks half dried out, but hey, that's okay. I'll just trim off the dried parts. And take 3 or 4 nice slices from that. Drop it in. The ginger will add a warming spice to the sauce without being too forward or distinct. It also helps to balance out the cranberry's natural slight bitterness. In about 5 minutes, all the cranberries will have burst and the ginger flavor has been infused. Now, I want this to cool somewhat before we move on to the next step. Luckily, I have this snow conveniently outside. Take the ginger pieces out. It doesn't need to be all that cool though, just not piping hot, because we're going to transfer the cranberries with that ginger-infused water into this blender cup. Along with 2 kinds of sweetener, swerve brown sugar alternative for that extra molasses flavor, and icing sugar alternative for that straight sweetness. Then optionally, a dash of cinnamon, and not optionally, a dash of salt. Then blend until smooth. This makes more than enough cranberry sauce for our vegan keto cheesecake. Speaking of, here she is. Now nice and firm and having rested so all the flavors have had time to develop, our cheesecake is ready to top. First, with a 1/4 cup of our delicious ginger cranberry sauce. Maybe a 1/4 cup more. Do you want a slice? I do. That texture is incredible. Smooth and rich, yet light and fluffy at the same time. The texture is truly a step above. Those extra bubbles from being blended in the Vitamix did not hurt our cheesecake in any way. Actually, I think it's a step better. And the taste. No tofu detected, just lightly vanilla, a hint of tart, and a rich cream cheesy flavor. You've just got to try this yourself and take a photo and tag me on Instagram if you do. I just love to see you making my recipes in your kitchens. But if you do, here are a few extra important notes. Yes, you can freeze it, but don't add the topping. I have frozen a test cake and thawed it on the kitchen counter just like you would with a regular cheesecake, and it comes out perfect. Yes, you can make the sauce ahead of time. I have chilled it overnight in the fridge and used it again the next day, and the texture stays smooth and silky. Yes, you can substitute soy tofu for non-soy tofu. I've tested it with store-bought fava bean tofu and it came out nicely. However, you do need to make some adjustments, which I'll post on screen and in the blog post. Next, yes, you can mix some ingredient substitutions, but they will not come out as legit as this version. Again, I'll post those details in the blog post. Lastly, please stick to the cooling wait times throughout the recipe. Swerve, just like any erythritol-based sweetener, can crystallize if there are extreme temperature swings, which will ruin the textures of both the cake and the glaze. Speaking of, if you can't get Swerve, other erythritol-based sweeteners should work as well. I haven't tested allulose or other sweeteners just because personally I don't react well to them, but that doesn't mean they won't work for you. If you have any other questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below, as well as your recipe requests. Developing this one really reignited my passion for recipe testing, and you know how I love to fulfill your requests. Thank you so much for watching, my friends. Please give this video a like if you liked it, and subscribe if you haven't already. If you end up making this, please don't forget to take a photo and tag me on your Instagram post. I might just have to show it off in a future video. And once again, don't forget to check out Sage Wellness and use my link below and coupon code TESTKITCHEN for 20% off site-wide with free shipping across the US and Canada. Bye for now!